Herbie, I know there's a lot of fans who hate having this conversation, especially this early in the season. And look, the Dolphins could surprise Herbie. The Packers won 2 games with their backup, but here's the difference: their backup is not Skylar Thompson, man. You know what I'm saying? Like their backup, you know.
Skylar Thompson has had, because you guys are the Dolphins and you guys kind of fly under the radar. Skylar Thompson is one of the worst backup quarterbacks we have ever seen, bro. Like the space that he's been allowed to exist in for the past 2 years is so unwarranted. Like, legit, and I'm not saying this in hyperbole. I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. Like, he legitimately sucks, bro. Like, there's no other way to slice that pizza, dog. He fucking sucks, bro.
Trash, trash, dog.
He is
terrible, dog.
Like, what's that one quarterback that used to play for the Raiders? That really was really bad, bro.
Jamarcus Russell?
No. More recent. Like, he has the highest interception percentage of all time, bro. Like, one out of every 5 passes was a pick, bro. He just was with the Raiders like within the past 5 years, bro.
Nathan Peterman? That's what I think.
Skylar Thompson is on the Nathan Peterman plane. We just haven't seen him enough. But when he plays, that's who I see. I see Nathan Peterman, bro. Like, and it is malpractice that you guys have seen him in practice, have seen him in multiple various spots, and said, yeah, this is who we're riding with, right? And like, we're supposed to preview the game. Look, it says what can go right, what can go wrong, and potential what the fucks. All we're talking about right now is potential what the fucks, because there's no faith that what you guys are doing, what you guys have built, and the infrastructure that currently exists can coexist and can function if Tua's not out there, right? And I don't want to say this to be disrespectful. I'm just saying this as a point of conversation. You guys are in the worst possible space right now because you are in 2 spaces that you don't want to be in. There's one space that you never want to be in, which is good but not good enough. You're there. The other space that you're in, simultaneously in the good but not good enough spaces, you're in the I don't actually believe in my quarterback, but my team falls apart if my quarterback that I don't believe in is not playing. Like, how is that possible? How are you in all of these spaces conversation-wise, bro? Like, that's crazy, don't you think?
That is the Dolphins, Herbie. That's the Dolphins, man, in a nutshell,
dog.
As
of the Dolphins, elaborate on that part.
Look, man, listen, man. The Dolphins right now, it's honestly, I'm thinking about this game, I'm thinking about this team, and I'm thinking to myself, like I was, I went to go record with a mutual friend for our other podcast. Shameless plug, the Couch Bros. Y'all check that out on Spotify and iTunes. And we were having a discussion, man, and Gerson was asking me, like, Gerson made a comment about the Patriots. He was just, you know what, Rod? He's like, I'm lucky. He was like, I'm glad I'm not a real fan like you, dog. And I looked at Gerson and I said, you know what, bro? You smart, dog. Like, you're a smart man, dog. Because, my attachment to this team brings me nothing but pain, dog. And, I look at how ill-prepared the franchise for this moment. First of all, you drafted Tua coming in. Like, Herbie, you can't make this shit up, Herbie. You really can't. You draft a guy, the coach hates him because it's not the guy he wanted. You also drafted, as you so eloquently put it in another podcast, a lemon. So you draft a lemon who the coach hates. You failed for 2 years because you spend the time trying to get him for Deshaun Watson or Brady or a first-round pick or whatever. The Dolphins footed with tons of ideas. Then on top of that, you bring in a coach who could actually bring whatever skills he has to the forefront. When you decide to give this nigga a contract, you don't even factor in, like, bro, Anthony Richardson, Herbie, he goes down today, Joe Flacco comes in, and hell, you could argue the Colts have a better chance of winning. Like, there are other teams, Herbie, that when the starting quarterback goes down, and look, obviously there aren't even 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, right? Like there are some guys who are just starters because there's nobody else. Gardner Minshew is starting for a team, Herbie. You know what I'm saying?
And not to cut you off, but I want to bring this point because both games, I mean, not both games, but both quarterbacks in that game that you just mentioned in regards to Joe Flacco, right? Joe Flacco could back up Anthony Richardson and the team is still functional. The team on the other side is starting their backup. He doesn't seem like their backup, but he's their backup. Justin Fields was, quote unquote, not the starter. Russell Wilson is, quote unquote, the starter. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are significantly better than Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley was on his couch, dog. Yeah. Like, Tyler Huntley was on his couch. He's going to start a football game when he was on his couch last week. And you can say Joe Flacco did the same thing. Joe Flacco is a Super Bowl winning coach. Joe Flacco has shown that he is capable of being a functional starting quarterback. He did it for years. He has one of the greatest postseason runs of all time. It's not comparable, dog.
11 touchdowns, 0 picks. I'll never forget that. 11 touchdowns, 0 picks. He was incredible.
He was incredible. Joe Flacco was on his couch because he was old. Tyler Huntley is younger than me. He was on his couch because he fucking sucks. They're not comparable, dog. Like, they're not comparable. Context matters. The fact that Justin Fields is on the fucking Steelers and threw for 342 yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns today, and he's on a $1 million contract, and he's not on the Dolphins. What? And I get it. When you're in a space where when you're in a space where you don't have the most faith in your quarterback, you either have too much faith in your quarterback. Let me rephrase it. You either have too much faith in your quarterback or you don't have enough faith in your quarterback. But when those two things are the same thing, you end up in the same situation. And I say that to say this. When you don't have enough faith in your quarterback and you have too much faith in your quarterback, you end up not investing in the backup quarterback. Because if you have too much faith in your quarterback, you have a blind spot and you just always assume that your quarterback is always going to be there. So why invest in the backup anyway? How many games does Patrick Mahomes miss? How many games does Josh Allen miss? How many games does Lamar Jackson miss? Right? Like, it's a rarity. So you're like, these guys are Ironmen. They don't miss games. They always play. Do we really have to invest in a backup quarterback? But the flip side of it is when you don't actually trust in your quarterback, you don't want that quarterback to have competition. So you coddle him by not thinking of the entire roster. You just think about that specific person. You think about their feelings. You think about how it would look and how it would make them feel versus the other 51 men on the roster who are putting their bodies on the line.
You spitting right now, dog. You spitting right now, dog.
Hey, appreciate that. You don't have a true backup quarterback because you don't want to have Tua feel threatened. Fuck that. Fuck that. You can't trust that he's going to play 16 and 17 games or 18 games because he's never done it. He's done it once.
Except one time. One time. Since high school.
About his feelings. You can't. You cannot have Tyler Huntley coming off of eating fucking mac and cheese and yams, dog. That's what this nigga was doing last week, bro.
Let me tell you something.
This nigga was watching Rick and Morty last week, bro. And now he's football.
When the Dolphins called Herbie, when the Dolphins called Tyler Huntley, I imagine this nigga had his hand on his balls while he was watching The Wire or some shit. Drinking a fucking beer, enjoying an early retirement, man. Like that's how I envision Tyler Huntley was when he got that fucking phone call, Herbie.